everyone, good afternoon, and welcome back to Thorough Newspaper Analysis. Today is 14th of July, and this entire video series is brought to you by LawSikho. So now let's head to the agenda for today. The first segment for today's discussion would be the editorial segment, and here we talk about this article which is titled as An Unacceptable Verdict in the Constitutional Sense. This article pertains to a recent Allahabad judgment wherein the Allahabad High Court refused to grant protection to a live-in couple, which is an interfaith couple, and the court has in fact went ahead to state that live-in relationships, these are problems, social problems. So we're going to understand as to what is the law pertaining to this entire matter and how the author says that, this particular verdict, it is unacceptable in the constitutional sense. Second, we talk about important news updates. And thirdly, we cover important legal developments of the day. So with this, let's dive into the TNA and let's start with the why of it first. See, the Allahabad High Court, it was dealing with a protection plea by a live-in couple, which was in fact an interfaith couple. So these two persons, the couple, they were living together in a rented premises, and their family, it was against their relationship. As a result, the family made certain police complaints, and the police in turn started harassing the couple. So the couple, in order to secure its life and protection to its limbs, it went before the Allahabad High Court. The Allahabad High Court, being the writ court, the court which is called the Constitutional Court, which has to ascertain the rights and the liberties of the people, it went ahead and stated that, implied that, live-in relationships, these are social problems. The author has highlighted that this judgment, it is wrong and unacceptable in the constitutional sense for the reason that the court, the High Court, it got carried away by, the conventional notions of marriage instead of the constitutional principle of individual autonomy and of personal liberty. I'm sure you're aware of the fact that, in our country, the constitutional courts have time and again said that making personal choices of who you indulge in a relationship with, choosing your partner, all of these aspects, they're facets of your personal liberty, and you have a right of choice here. The state, or in fact your family members, they have no business involving in this sort of realm, and the courts have time and again upheld the individual liberty of the individuals who have come up before the court. So, in this sense, when seen from the light of the precedents that we already have in place, this judgment has taken a slightly different route, and that is what, in fact, the author is trying to say. So, the author is assailing the validity of this judgment on three grounds. The first of which is that the High Court got carried away by the conventional notions of social morality rather than taking, a recourse of constitutional morality. So the High Court, it gave precedent to social morality instead of constitutional principles of individual autonomy and of personal liberty. The second ground for assailing this particular judgment is that in the process, the court also discarded several Supreme Court judgments, the precedents of the highest, the top court of our country, when it comes to governing the matters of live-in relationships and matters of choosing one's own partner. Thirdly, the author says that the High Court, it decided to rely on personal laws in this case, which was not needed at all because this is a protection plea. So in protection plea, usually the petitioners, they seek protection and ask the court to direct the police to act on their representations and to not harass them. And the court has to simply grant the protection, considering, of course, the facts and the material before it. Now see, the judgment and its shortcomings are further highlighted by the author by saying that the High Court held that the Supreme Court's verdict on live-in relationships, be it in the case of Indira Sharma, which is a 2013 verdict, or the 2010 case of D. Velusamy, the Supreme Court did not seek to promote live-in relationship. This is the reasoning that the Allahabad High Court has reached. The Allahabad High Court further said that these judgments, they were based on the particular facts and circumstances of the cases, and therefore they've not promoted in general the practice of live-in relationships. The judgment, it also stated that premarital sex, it is not recognized under Muslim law, and sexual, in fact, practices of, let's say, kissing or touching hands, sexual or affectionate act, they are in fact considered haram in Muslim law. So this is also one of the observations of the High Court. So the court said the author is again trying to say that this is problematic. Why? Because firstly, the High Court could not have assumed that marriage this is a condition which is precedent for constitutional protection and the exercise of fundamental rights, because these two need not coexist, or this is not a precondition or precedent which is required for a person to approach the court for the purpose of enforcing their fundamental rights. Secondly, the author is saying that in the case of Lata Singh, which is a 2006 Supreme Court verdict, the Supreme Court has categorically directed police authorities to ensure that interfaith or intercaste couples, they should not be harassed. Also, the author highlights the 2010 of S. Khushbu, which is in fact one of the landmark judgments and also a very controversial events. And in case you're interested in this matter, I would encourage that you go ahead and read upon this case. So here the Supreme Court held that if consenting adults, that physical relationship, then the same could not be a statutory offense, and it is not a matter of state to parade into the individual spheres of a person, because this is a realm of personal liberty, of personal autonomy, of privacy. So with this, let's proceed to the next segment for today. And this has brought us to the national news category for today, with this being the first update. ONGC, it has become the first organization in India to achieve Anti-Bribery Management System certificate, the first PSU. Here we need to understand one thing, that ONGC, it in fact was the first organization in our country that adopted the integrity practice or integrity pact, which was developed by Transparency International. Transparency International is a civil society organization, and it addresses the problem of corruption. Integrity Pact, what it does is that it essentially is a process whereby the contracting parties to a public sector contract, they are made to sign or be abide by certain obligations. That is, that they don't indulge in bribery, or that they have to transparently disclose certain sort of information which is asked for in these contracts. Now, the certification with this, the Energy Maharatna, it is going to strengthen its image further as a preferred business partner. This certificate was awarded by the internationally accredited certification body, which is called InterCert USA. The Reserve Bank of India, it is all set to implement interoperability between its central bank digital currency and the unified payments interface by the end of this particular month. This move, it will allow customers to use UPI QR codes for transactions using digital currency. The RBI, with this particular move, is aiming to achieve that it gets 1 million digital currency transactions per day by the end of this particular year. Also, once interoperability it is enabled, then the digital currency users, they will be able to make transactions even if the merchant does not have a digital currency account. This is also an interesting update because in a significant milestone for the AI industry, Odisha TV, which is a regional television channel, news channel, it has unveiled Lisa, which is India's first regional AI news anchor. This is a groundbreaking moment in the TV broadcasting and journalism industry, and it also highlights how much potential the AI world has and how it can revolutionize the entire journalism and the news space or industry. So before I proceed further, I have a question and I would request all of you to please put down the same in the comment section. Which is the first Indian primetime news channel which introduced its own AI news anchor? And now we have a look at a sport-related update. So on the first day of the Asian Athletics Championship, Abhishek Pal, he started India's medal tally in this athletics championship with a bronze medal in 10,000-meter walk. Mr. Pal, he finished third after his Japanese and Kazakhstan rivals. As far as these championships are concerned, it is underway in Bangkok in Thailand. It's a 5-day event which started on 12th of July and it is going to conclude on 16th of July. The current is the 25th edition and Thailand is hosting this event for the first time since 1973. This is again a very proud moment for India because India has achieved a monumental feat at the 37th International Biology Olympiad. This was held in UAE from 2nd of July to 11th of July. For the first time in the history of this competition, all the four students which were representing India, they clinched gold medals, thereby showing the exceptional talent that we have. India and Singapore, they both topped with the four gold medal tally each, while China, Chinese Taipei, and the future Olympic delegation, they came at the second place with three gold medals. This is another remarkable achievement for our country. India's G20 presidency recently achieved a remarkable milestone, and this is by setting a new Guinness World Record. So, what is this record about? Prime Minister, he hailed this world record for largest display of Lambani art items with a total of 1,755 items being displayed during the third G20 Culture Working Group's meeting in Hampi in Karnataka. Lambani art, this is essentially an intricate form of embroidery which is done on a piece of cloth. You can see it right here. And this is also known as Banjara embroidery. Sandur Lambani embroidery, it was recognized and given a GI tag in the year 2010. Now we proceed to the international segment for today. So finally, the IMF, it has approved and given its nod for the $3 billion bailout plan for Pakistan. IMF, it has said that its executive board, it has approved an agreement to release the funds over 9 months to support the country's economic stabilization plan. Earlier, this was on hold, and the IMF, it was refusing to release a critical portion of this loan. Why? Because of the non-compliance on part of Pakistan with the 2019 agreement, which was signed between IMF and the then Prime Minister of the country. This is also an important update. European Union lawmakers, they back a major plan to protect nature and fight climate change. So in a cliffhanger vote, which is a very tight and very contested and close vote, European Union's Parliament, it backed a major plan to protect nature and fight climate change. What is this plan? This plan was proposed by European Union Commission, which is the executive branch of the European Union. This plan, Biodiversity Strategy for 2030, it set binding restoration targets for specific habitats and species with the aim to cover at least 20% of the region's European Union's land and sea areas by the year 2030. Through concrete commitments and actions, the plan it is for the EU countries to put in place effective restoration measures to restore degraded ecosystems, in particular those with the most potential to capture and to store carbon and to prevent and reduce the impact of natural disasters. With Sukhoi 2, China blasts off world's first methane-powered rocket. This has been done in the second attempt by a Beijing-based company which is called Land Space. This has given a very close contest to its US rivals. So a private Chinese company, Land Space, it has launched into orbit the world's first methane liquid oxygen rocket, beating US rivals including Elon Musk's SpaceX, Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin, in sending what could become the next generation of launch vehicles into space. Now, a question might arise as to why methane fueled machines or vehicles they are preferred. So see, they are preferred because they are deemed less polluting, they are deemed safer, cheaper, and a suitable propellant in a reusable rocket. And lastly, we have a look at the legal update segment with this particular update. So Supreme Court is recently held. Before we do that, let's take a very brief understanding of this matter. Suppose I file a suit, I got a cause of action, I file a suit, later I withdraw the suit without seeking permission to file a fresh suit on the same cause of action. And later I go ahead and file a writ petition pertaining to the same, seeking the same sort of relief. And before the writ court, I do not disclose the fact that I had already filed a suit, withdrawn the suit, and did not seek liberty to file a fresh. So then what can be done? So here the Supreme Court has held that a writ petition which is filed pursuant to withdrawal of a civil suit for the same relief when liberty is not granted to file afresh. This is not maintainable. It reiterated that the principles of constructive res judicata laid down in Order 23 Rule 1 of the CPC, it would also apply to writ jurisdictions. The name of this particular matter is State of Odisha and another versus Lakshmi Narayan Das, dead through LRs and others. So here I have a question. I have two questions. So first of which is, does the principle of res judicata, which is contained in section 11 of the CPC, does it apply to a writ petition? Secondly, if your answer is yes, then which is the landmark judgment which said that the principle of res judicata, it is also applicable to writ jurisdictions or writ petitions? Please put down your answers in the comment section. And with this, we've come to an end for today's TNA. In case you want to get access to the free study material that we curate or the TNA slides that have been used in this video, please feel free to join our Telegram channel. And for the very same purpose, you may scan the barcode here or click on the link which is given in the description. These are the point of contacts in case you want to get in touch with LawSikho. Also, the quiz, which is based on today's TNA, it is made available for your kind consideration in the description itself. Please go ahead and attempt the same. And in fact, I would encourage all of you to please be participative. Thank you for being with us.